Hi, welcome. This is our latest episode of Cosplayer of the Month. As you may have noticed, we were kind of missing last month, so we're giving you a double whammy this month. We've got a cosplaying couple, Phil and Sheila, and they are here to share about their cosplays that they did at the PT in Amsterdam. And that is on their home turf. So shall we roll into it? So where are you guys from, and how did you find Flesh and Blood?
Well, we're from the Netherlands, so Proto Amsterdam was about an hour by car for us, which was ideal. And we started playing in 2021, like just before Tales of Aria got released. Philip was already playing Magic, and he was trying to get me into Magic.
Yeah.
But playing against someone who's been playing Magic since he was like 13, and then me coming in with like zero experience, it was not a fun game to play with him.
Yeah.
So then when Flesh and Blood became a little bit more popular in the Netherlands, he was like, would you be interested to try this game with me? We would have the same amount of experience, and maybe that way you'll find it more enjoyable. So
Yeah.
we started that together. It was still like full Corona in the Netherlands, so there wasn't a lot of like in-store playing events. So almost all of it was online, but we had the added benefit that we could just practice together.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how we rolled into it, and then we just continued to hobby from there on out.
Yeah, it was pretty funny because we started out with like just before the Tales of Aria pre-releases, so during RTN season for with Monarch, I guess.
Yep.
That was basically it, and yeah, we just drove to like 6 or 7 pre-releases because I wanted to qualify for nationals, and
Yeah.
we needed the XP from every single pre-release because that was the only chance.
We did like Friday evening after work, and then we did 2 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday, I think, off the top of my head.
No, it was like 2.
Oh God, okay, even more than I thought.
A lot of hard work.
Yeah. In the Netherlands, they're really good with like store communication, that they'll try to either split it geographically so that if it's on the same day, it's like geographically like very far apart so that people like can go to the easiest one for them. Or if it's close together, they'll try to do it like morning, evening kind of event if like time-wise that's possible, so that people can go to as many events as they want to. So definitely props to the stores in the Netherlands.
Yeah, they're definitely working together, and then you guys went in feet first. So, how did you find learning the game, Philip? Seeing as you came from a card playing background, was it easier to pick up, or?
Like just the game itself, like I'd say it's similar than to Magic, but there's like a little bit more depth, I think, and there a little bit less variance, but like the gameplay is pretty similar. I think like when you understand a game like Magic, because it's pretty complex, then that is actually, I think, maybe easier to learn. Or easy.
Yeah, I found the same myself, coming from a Magic the Gathering background too. So I was just curious if you found the same. So
yeah, I think for me it was a little bit easier to pick up than for Sheila, but
the one thing I didn't like about Magic was keeping in like your mind that like your permanents are going to stay and to attack or to keep them to potentially block. That was like my main hurdle, because I always just go like balls to the walls, just go for it, and then I'm completely undefended. But then with Flesh and Blood, because you keep like swiping away your entire turn and getting more cards, you can always like then decide to block or not block. So you don't really have to keep that good of a account of what's happening on your field and on the other person's field, because it gets wiped away anyway. I prefer Flesh and Blood, definitely.
So also we're going to like first cosplays. So Philip, I believe this was your first cosplay, but we've seen you do some cosplay, Sheila, before. So your first cosplay was, I believe we've got a picture. So your first cosplay was as Dromai.
Yeah. It was a fun one, but it was a pain to make. You can see like on my left side there's like scales on it.
Yeah.
I started well in advance with EFA foam to like hand mold them, and I had like trays of baking sheets where I would just put them on so you could air dry and then like 2 days after that, I would be able to paint them. So I had already made like a good 200 or something of them, thinking it would be enough. So I had finished that, I painted them, and then I asked Philip to glue them on me, not really thinking about how many I really needed, because apparently 200 was not enough, not nearly enough. And then as well, a hot glue gun is hot, even if you use fabric in between. So after we were done and I took off the jumpsuit, I essentially looked like a cheetah on one side with like red welts where like the hot glue like seeped through the fabric. So cosplaying is definitely a learning curve. You try something and it doesn't work, or you learn something and you're like, let's not do that again. This was definitely one of these moments. And it was also the first time that Philip was a helping hand, where he essentially had to put them on, because if you're trying to put them on your leg and you're bending down, then the entire costume like shifts, so you're not really able to put them right. So he had to, like, we put on, I think, like a TV series.
So basically, this was my.
Oh yeah, this was technically also his first then. But we just put a TV series on the background, and he just like glued them all in there, where I was trying to stand still and just being like,
cosplay's pain, right?
It is, yeah. Either you get like chemical burns from glue on your hands, or it's like welts from hot glue guns, or you stick yourself with a needle.
So we can go and we can talk about Phil's first cosplay, and then we can come and turn around back, because you've done a few cosplays, but this is your first cosplay, Phil. So, do you mind me calling you Phil? I keep going to Phil.
Sure.
Yeah, sorry.
That's good. Fine.
Yeah, Philip's your name. All right. Yeah. So, how did you find doing your first cosplay at this event?
It was pretty fun, but I didn't expect it to be like this. Like the well, not really a problem, but it was like quite challenging. That to every second you're like, oh shit, is my cosplay still good? And like the shoulder piece, the shoulder piece, like every time it fell off a little bit. So then we modified it a little bit, and so the whole day you're actually busy trying to make your cosplay to stay to stay on. And but it's also been a lot of fun to I've been to these pro tours and a lot, and these bigger events, so a lot of people already like they know me as a person to go there. And so every time you see them, like, wait a minute, that's Philip. And then you get some conversation out of them. That's it was really fun to like interact with everyone there.
Yeah, it's a very different experience being in a costume at events than being just at the tables. It's great catching up with all your friends, but it's entirely different. And how did you find it being in a cosplay all day? Was it something that you would repeat, or did you find it
mixed feelings about it? It like the preparation for the event was pretty abysmal because of the cosplay making. With a lot, like I needed some help with this. Sheila needed some help with hers. To like some things you have to do with two people, or like to get some advice, and that did kind of mess with my preparation for the actual pro tour. So that didn't go as planned. And maybe if I'm not actually playing, like maybe if it's like a calling or something, then I would probably do it. It. But again, for a pro tour, probably not.
Yeah.
As well, like wearing it is one thing, but playing it is like a different ball game, especially if you have any type of bracers. It's really annoying to always like have to be mindful, like your arms are suddenly like a lot thicker, and there's like things hanging off of it, and you're trying not to mess up with either like your deck or the chain. So it gets really annoying really quick. And for a lot of costumes, you kind of have to like stand upright. Anything with like things on your shoulders, if you start to like slouch, they will slip and slide, and it will be uncomfortable to sit in them.
No.
So, or anything with a corset, I have with my Azalea, I did an entire event playing in it, and it was really annoying to just like have to like completely be sat upright the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, it is a very I think we've got a picture of your Azalea. Here it is. We'll just add that up. So yeah, it looks like it was a little bit restrictive, right?
Yeah, the entire chest plate is made out of thick EFA foam, so essentially I'm like a little sausage at this point. So I could sit upright, but if I wanted to just like be sat comfortably, then it wasn't allowing me to do so.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually quite enjoyed your Azalea cosplay because she is near and dear to myself as well. It's good to share the love, and it was always wonderful to see you dressed up as Azalea.
Azalea is one of those difficult ones because like there is a lot of art of her in different, either like character art for like the champion, but also in cards you can also find her. But none of the cards are exactly the same. So sometimes it's like pick and choose where you're like, what will look better in pictures? Do I go for like because I think in one of them she has on both arms, she has shoulder pieces, but in most of the art she also has a cloak over it. So it's like, so does she have two, or does she have one and just two in this one?
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of it's kind of like with cosplay. You either have one picture of just the front and you have to imagine everything else and just go with it, or you have a lot of pictures and none of them are the same. Like that's the difficult thing about cosplaying, I think, like figuring out what you're supposed to look like.
Exactly. So we're gonna move into, it's a good way to move into what's been your favorite cosplay that you have seen.
Ooh, that I think
you have seen, or
that I
or it could be one that you've done or one that you've seen. Yeah,
I think for me it is the Exude Confidence. It was the very first costume I ever saw. I wasn't aware that like Flesh and Blood was doing cosplay at that point either, because it was like I think first pro tour in
it was first pro tour, and it was
Carolina.
In New Jersey.
Carolina,
Yeah, so it was the first time that we decided to like actually like commit to the lifestyle of Flesh and Blood, whereas like going to different countries to do tournaments and essentially making it your holiday. So it was a lot of fun to go there and have already like the first experience for me of like big tournaments and a lot of international people coming there. And then on top of that, I got the sprinkling of seeing that costume and being like, ooh.
It was very good costume. I think that was where the first tailor was given out to.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Could it also be Cacao?
No, I think it was in America.
Yeah. Do you have any favorites, Philip?
It's probably another one of Carolina.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
She slaps. Yeah.
The chain one, but then Matthew in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure about
First
that
of all,
one.
like the chain one, the gender bend chain was also beautiful. But then I think on Twitter, I think
Matthew Fox wore that costume once. It was horrendous.
Yeah, and then it got put away or something.
No, I don't actually. That was a difficult question for me. But it's I'll think about it for longer. But it might actually be the Exude Confidence as well. I like that one as well.
Yeah. No, she pretty much brought it as soon as she started. So yeah, it's and she's gone leaps and bounds. She just keeps getting better and better every time. So
yeah, that's great.
So our next question is what challenges did you have with this particular build? Because we haven't seen your current one. I'll just add that up. So I've got a picture of both of you that'll pop up. But what has been a challenge that you've had during this particular build?
For me, I think the hand painting, it was fun to do, but also not fun to do at all. And on the other side, it was a lot of fun to look into like historical garb for like our country. Because, for example, for Germany, you know, there's like the Dirndl, which is like very like with the Oktoberfest, everyone kind of knows what it looks like. But I don't really know anything about like our historical garb. I there's like I knew of one, which is like in Zeeland, which is like a specific province, and that was it. But apparently, it turns out that depending on which province and even which town you came from, like your entire outfit would look completely different. So it was a lot of fun to research it, but it also brought the annoyance of knowing that certain elements of this costume were geographically, like the inspiration of them were geographically like not in the same area. So it was fun, but also difficult to kind of like make in my head a picture of what it was supposed to look like.
Yeah, I think all of the Norwegians have different artists as well, so that and everyone at their different sources for the source art, so it made it difficult as well, I think, for you.
Yeah. And sourcing of the clogs, that was a pain. And as well to walk in them, it was not fun.
Yes. Shoes are very important. I mean, you're going to be in them all day, and if they're proper clogs, they'll be wooden. Yes.
Yep, they're wood.
No problem.
Oh yeah, I have them over here. No, they're actually like, this is just wood. But it was mostly on the art of the boots. You can see that there is like woodwork like made to it. So I sourced this from a Dutch artist that does like decorative wood carvings for clogs.
Yeah.
He even like signed it. I'm not sure if you can see it.
Oh, that's so cool.
His signature. So that was the most difficult thing because I was trying to figure out how I was going to do it. And the only other way I could think of was either do wood carving myself, but I quite like my fingers. And I know that wood carving can be dangerous, especially if you're like new to it. A lot of people like cut into their own fingers, and I would rather not. And the other option I thought was maybe Eva foam, and just like instead of carving into it, just make it on top of it so that you still have like the 3D effect. But I was like, I'm not sure how well Eva foam is going to hold on to the wood, and especially like having to then prime the entire thing. I have no idea how the wood is going to respond to the primer compared to the Eva foam. So I was happy that I found someone who actually does this for a living, and I could work together with him and create this pattern.
Beautiful work. You'll have to give me their link or something that I can put in the description as well.
Yeah, will do.
Yeah. Okay. And what did you find most challenging with your particular costume, Philip?
I think most of it was pretty straightforward, but the robe thingy, the blue and white, I don't even know what I call it.
The piece of fabric.
The piece of fabric that's over me. That one was pretty difficult because the colors had to be right. They were actually both white, but the blue one was painted in fabric paint, and then I put on some stick-on vinyl.
Stick-on vinyl. Oh yeah.
Or like the heat-on vinyl, I guess. Yeah. That was pretty difficult to do to get it right, and it took a lot of time as well. Because in the Zen card art, it's flying all over the place. You don't really know how it actually falls on his body, so you have to like make educated guess how to actually like put it on when it's still. And I think like brief my picture. I don't have my glasses on, so I didn't actually see what I was.
You were giving a mean look.
Yeah, doesn't really look good. All right. Anyways. Yeah, but yeah, it was like another challenge. I guess the staff it took the most time to make because all the pieces are 3D printed, glued, and there's
I think
even foam
I
on
think we've got some pictures of that. I'll pop them up for you, eh?
yeah.
So yeah. Oh, wrong way. Yeah, so you found so you did the 3D printing of the staff, right?
Yeah, so basically only the top part and the bottom part is like divided into a couple sections. So basically like balls or 3D printed cylinders, basically.
Oh, yeah.
So we had those 3D printed by a friend, and well, yeah,
He's also a cosplayer. Andres.
Andres
So
yeah. So he has a
nice.
3D printer, so that makes things a little bit easier. Maybe we should get one. But yeah, so those are glued on top of each other, and then there's like a broomstick in between both of them, glued in. So there's like a cylindrical hole in all of those pieces that goes all the way to the top, and then like the broom was inserted in there, and then a piece of PVC over that, and then everything glued together, and then started the fun part where it took ages to try to make the pattern that's on the staff with Eva foam, and then I painted it gold.
Yeah. So there's another one. So it's showing your broom in the middle there.
Yeah, so that's the broom.
Yeah. Also, a segue into what is difficult about cosplaying. You can see the trash that's just on the floor of like other things that you're also doing in the project. There's like vinyl foam or vinyl sheets on the ground where it's like you're doing this, it needs to cool down. You go to the next thing, and then you go back, and then everything is just covered in a project.
I was simultaneously, you can see it on the hallway behind the door as well. There's the fabric, so there something is probably drying or something, and like a source picture on the ground there, trying to figure out where to put the
cosplay is not a tidy hobby, I don't think.
No, definitely not.
No.
You can't see my floor, and there's a reason why you can't see my floor.
Prepared. You have.
Oh no, I just do sewing project laying. I'm clean, or I'm at least tidy at this point.
Yeah. I spent the weekend cleaning my own house, not my office.
And luckily, you can also not see this desk. It's full of cards with like different TCGs, but mostly Flesh and Blood, I guess. Deck boxes. I don't
know. What was your favorite material to work with?
I like sewing over crafting. So whenever there's like a project that just has fabric, I'm like, yes, let's do this. The one caveat is that a lot of the artists don't really follow physics. They'll have beautiful art, but I'll be looking at it going like, I don't think that's how that works. Okay, how am I going to make this work? So I like sewing, but then you kind of always have to think of something else to either put underneath there to give structure, or like metal wiring to like doing the bias tape so it can be like folded in a certain way. So yeah, even though I like sewing best, you always end up having to craft something around it.
Yeah. Philip, what was your favorite material to work with?
Yeah. I think
that's hard with only one.
The most cool was the staff, but it's multiple materials, but it's like also like 3D printed stuff. But like the making of the staff was the most fun part for me.
Now, so being a beginner, Phil, we'll start with you. Do you have any tips for people who want to begin in cosplay?
Start well in advance. Like that was the biggest problem for me personally. That also with testing and making a cosplay was really difficult to also next to working, it was pretty difficult to find the time to do either of those things or both together, or like and well, near the end we were both struggling to find the time to finish the cosplay. So that start like months in advance probably.
Yeah.
Yes. And do you have any tips for beginners, Sheila?
Definitely that, because I will start 2 months in advance thinking that's enough time, and then somehow it's never enough time. But I think as well, like just try things. It's okay if things don't work out the way you planned. You can usually always think of a new way or a different way to try it again. But the only thing to get better at it is like practicing. Even if it's not fun to do, there's always like a net benefit for you at the end of the line.
Yeah.
Oh, and as well, take pictures with people, because as soon as you leave the event, your costume is just gonna go into the garage and you'll never see it again. And you've just put like 3 months of hard work into it. And sometimes it feels like you don't really have anything to show for it, especially because when you walk around in events, either people are busy playing their main event or they could be like shy to ask for pictures. So if you're not taking pictures yourself, then there may not be any pictures of your outfit. So just have fun, make pictures with other costumers, other cosplayers, other people that you play with. For example, Acer.
Acer's best at doing that, but
just make it fun for yourself. That's the best way that you will feel like it was worth it. Because it does, like, it is an investment of time, energy, money. So it's nice to get like something out of it, even if it's just like the sense of either accomplishment or recognition or interaction with people. And like make sure that you're able to find those things for yourself.
Yeah. So we got some questions from Twitter. And of course, Essa is he's given us 3 great questions. I think because we're so busy with spoiler season, there just didn't seem to be as many other questions at the moment. Everyone's just so busy scrambling to get into the new cards. But Essa's put some really good questions forward. He asks, how does working on cosplay projects affect your relationship, if at all?
I think what Philip was saying, because I play casually, but I don't play main events, usually because I want to do the costume, like I want to do the cosplay contest. And I've tried it once doing the calling in a costume. It was not fun. So I've decided it's just side events for me and walk around in my costume. And that's fine for me because that's the way I like to engage with the game and with the community. But Philip does main events and he's not really able to commit to anything except that. Usually that's where his focus is, and especially like weeks leading up to it. I can leave a mess in the house, especially if I have a lot of things that I need to do, because instead of taking the time to clean up the mess and then start something else, I'm like, I need to finish this, so I'm going to switch to the next thing and finish that, and when I'm done, then I'll clean everything. But Philip works like completely differently. Even like with his desk, if he were to like sit down to do something, he would first clean his desk before he actually starts the whatever he needs to do. So he'll look around, and right now, like it's neat. There's just like a corset that I'm doing. Everything is put away in the cabinet. So right now, this is neat. But what will happen when, like, the week before the event comes, there's going to be things in the hallway, there's going to be things in the kitchen drying, there's going to be, my entire desk is going to be full with stuff, there's going to be bags on the ground, like, the trash bins will be full with, like, cut-up EVA foam, and Philip will try to find a quiet place to just practice his games, and he's living in chaos. So sometimes he's like, for the love of everything that is holy, could you just clean up this room so I can just sit in here and focus, instead of like, if I want to get up, I need to look at the ground if I'm not like rolling over something with my chair. I'm like, I'm sorry.
It used to be just a cat, so like, don't kill a cat when you walk away, but now it's mayhem.
Yeah. So I think that's the most difficult part. But for the events themselves, we've always had where he usually does the main events and I just do whatever. So we're kind of used to like saying good morning and then just like splitting off, and around like 5 or 6 o'clock we like come back together like, how was your day? Oh, it was okay. So
It
for us,
works.
that's fun and fun.
We'll meet again at dinner.
Yeah, we'll meet again at dinner. It's fine.
That is also my answer. So
Yeah.
I don't think we have a lot of like struggle relationship struggles during like these kinds of projects or anything. But
we're both very aware that like we both have different needs when it comes to Flesh and Blood. He needs to have like qualitative gameplay either with like friends that we have or online, and I know that that means that like a week or two in advance we will either host like a weekend where like people from the Netherlands will come and play and practice, or it just means that he's going to be over with friends that live nearby that also play competitively, or it means that he's just going to be a lot on the computer, and that's fine because I'm at the same time usually I'm doing like going to the store to quickly grab some more fabric or some more yarn or some more whatever, coming back and just being like, don't talk to me, I need to finish this.
Yeah. Now he's asked this very important question: do you plan on doing a cosplay couple or couple cosplay?
So, I don't know, are there any couples currently in the lore? Like, are there any canon couples? I don't know.
But yeah, we're not planning on it yet, but maybe if there's like something cool that walks in our path, then
maybe. I mean, maybe the new what is it? The two room blades, maybe. Completely like different aesthetics, but secretly lovers. Maybe if they could make that canon, then we could do a couple's costume.
I'm not sure if he meant like a couple or whether he meant just like do something together like that comes from the same set, or I'm not sure what the loaded back behind that was, but yeah.
You'll just be Droma again, I'll be your Ashwing.
You can be my dragon.
Okay. And do you work together? You kind of already really answered this a little bit because you do work together with certain parts you kind of need to. But do you work more or less alone? But I think you kind of answered that, but you can retouch on that if you like.
Yeah, for some of the things you kind of need someone. For example, if I'm fitting on a top and it needs to get like taken in the sides, it's easier if someone were to like pin it down for me. Because as soon as I like start to like reach to the left, then the entire right side is gonna like change. So it's easier for me to stand still and for Philip just to pin it, and then I can continue on. So usually it's like small moments where you just need someone to do.
I think with every cosplay you've made so far, I think
it's difficult to do it 100% by yourself unless you have like a mannequin that is like exactly your size and shape and everything. But sometimes it's also just nice to ask someone where you're like, okay, I don't know how to fix this. I'm running into an issue. Do you have any ideas? Like, how would you approach this? And then to just kind of like spitball and essentially come to like a conclusion like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe actually if I use this, then maybe it will work. And then you can just continue on.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have someone, especially for the moments where you feel stuck, or just like, even if it's not contributing towards the costume, it also helps. Like if I'm too busy to do like anything, like make dinner or anything like that, it's nice to have a partner that will go like, you finish this, it needs to like be finished now because it has drying time and whatever, you focus on that, I'll get dinner started, and then when you're done you can come down and we'll see where we're at. So even if it's not like in the actual like physical contribution to a project, there's also ways that we try to contribute towards either the cosplay or in his case like competitive play.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like you kind of have to.
Yeah. Also with my Zen cosplay, I got like quite a lot of help just to also just like advice on how to do something, and some like I'm not a sewer, so she helped sew some of the stuff. Luckily there was a lot of it.
No, there wasn't a lot of fabric, was there?
Mostly crafting, and that's something I can do.
Definitely. Now, do you have any pieces that you would like to show off? You've showed off the clogs. Is there anything else that either of you would like to show off?
Well, I don't have anything.
No, we packed all of his stuff away.
You have a bow somewhere, but
It's all in the basement.
It-
Yeah,
everything's
that's what I said. The downfall about, like, especially because like we live in the inner city, so like living spaces aren't that big. So we do have a basement, but that means whenever a project is done, it just gets packed away and shoved into the basement. Especially the bow, I think it had like a span width of like over a meter, so it's a big thing. And
the bow is bigger than you. It's like a meter.
almost. And then his staff was bigger than he is, so it's like a big thing to just leave laying around. So usually anything that we finish just goes into the basement.
Yeah. Oh, cool. That's fine.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about it, but I promised a friend of mine to make a wedding dress, so I'm focusing on that now and not making costumes.
Aha. Well, that's a challenge. Also, a dress you only wear once, so.
Yeah, I mean, she wants to have like an atypical wedding, so it's not going to be white. So I'm hoping that she's going to just wear it as a party dress for whenever.
Ah, nice. Okay, so what are you looking forward to in Fab? So, Sheila, what are you looking forward to in Fab?
Ooh, well, definitely Worlds, but that's mostly because it's in Japan and we're going. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, I've already been to Japan, but I really wanted to go again. And then when Premiere was dropped, I was like, I want to go, and he's like, but it's just a premiere. Maybe Worlds will be in Japan. Let's wait until Worlds get announced. And then it was in Osaka. I'm like, so I'm definitely excited for that, for the game, but also the country. I'm also excited for the cosplay like community to continue to grow, but also for the competition to be a little bit more formalized, that there's going to be more of like a set thing that you know what to expect, because depending on which venue you go to or which TO you go to, you're going to walk into a completely different situation, whereby one you will have to do like the cosplay walkway, where for another you'll have a stage where for one there won't be the ability for you to use audio, and the other there will be the ability to use audio. So I'm kind of hoping that like in the coming years, especially now that there's put more limelight on it, the competition is going to be a little bit more professional, because I already think like costume wise and participant wise, there's already a lot of like really high tier costume makers. But I feel like if you, for example, look to like an anime con where there's also cosplay competitions, they approach it completely differently, and from like, in my opinion, a little bit more high tier approach, where they go to the costumes or like the cosplayers beforehand. They inspect the costume. They'll see like what kind of materials are used, what kind of techniques are used. They'll ask you to show some pictures of like how you've made certain things. And then there's also like a little bit more, what is it? It's a little bit more that you know what your score is going to be by the end of it, based on just your interaction with the judges beforehand. And then at the end, there's like an actual like showcase where you have like 50 seconds on stage with like a screen and audio, and you can actually prepare like a fun thing to do. Because I find a lot of times with like, if there's like an MC that will do like the announcement or the interaction, it's completely out of your hands. It's really difficult to bring it back to what you want to do, because you're very dependent on what they're going to say, and usually it's completely improvised, so you don't really know what's going to be asked of you. So I kind of want it to be a little bit more like what you would see at like anime con and competitions, how they're structured there. And I think if there's more of an element of like a show factor in it, more people, like more players, will actually be invested to come and see. Because they're not really into costumes per se, because that's like not their niche hobby, but they might be interested in a show.
It's been an interesting journey, and I think that it's been really nice that they've done this for us and acknowledged the work that the cosplayers are doing. But as you say, it's not quite as linear as other competitions are. So it's just a little bit of letting communication and letting people know what's going to be happening. And I think they're getting better at it. I think when LSS is leading the reins, so for the world premiere I did and for Pro Tours, I understand that there is a little bit more communication that it sometimes is lacking. So
yeah.
And then I only want one thing technically, and that's just for there to be a playable Runeblade. Actually, just give me a playable.
Get Briar back. Get Briar back.
I'm kind of looking forward to the lightning Runeblade, but we'll see how we go. It's a cool
I'm
idea.
crossing my fingers.
Yeah, because Philip started on Chain, then Chain went LL, then he went over to Briar, then Briar went an LL, and I was like, where are my Runeblades?
A little bit of this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you've got 2 to choose from, but we'll see how they play out, right?
Yeah, I mean they need to be competitively also.
There is already 2, but like when Viscera lost Rosetta, it was kind of game over, and that and we'll not talk about Vinza.
I was just sad when Viscera lost Bloodsheath, so I've got this Bloodsheath sitting in my folder doing nothing.
Yep.
Also true. I did some disgusting things with that card in Blitz.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you both so much for being here. Did you have any socials you'd like to share?
For me, it's Brown Fixin, both on Twitter and Instagram.
And for me, I don't really use Instagram, but for Twitter, Twitter is my main source of anything really, and so that's Fizzle TCG with the PH-double-Z.
Nice. So thank you both so much for being our cosplayers of the month, and I look forward to seeing what you make in the future, Sheila and Philip, and I hope to see you near those top tables, Philip.
Thank you. I hope to see myself there as well, and thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.